You had your chance and then you blew it.
That is the most absurd statement of the year.
Nice. Nice.
Oh, baby.
I'm in my zone, I'm feeling it.
Live from Rock Solid Studios in Granite Falls, it's time for MinneZona Sports, live with DJ Matty C. and Paul the Shield Vold.
And this is MinneZona Sports Live. We are back after a 1-week hiatus. It feels great to be back. And, without further ado, I'm your host, DJ Matty C, a.k.a. Matt Callan, a.k.a. Matty C, a.k.a. Callie, etc., etc., etc. And all the way from Woods and Shores Studios in Aiken, Minnesota, Paul Vold, the Shield. What's going on, Shield?
It is another beautiful day today. We don't have to worry about any storms disrupting anything going on here for the show this week. We're feeling great. It is a great day for Minnesota sports, and I'm so excited for the show tonight.
We have a lot of content to get through. The Kerf Doctor is here as well. There's a lot of things we need to cover, and you know what?
There is.
We have enough time to cover all this. And, exactly, Kerf Doctor. Flags all around. We welcome you. Sit back, relax. I think it's time for some Tater tot. Hot take.
Fresh out of the oven, it's Tater Tot Hot Take.
All right, Voldy, we got two hot takes tonight, okay? One of them involves the Timberwolves, so thank you, you're welcome to Will Rattel, Cole Munson, and all the Wolves fans, including myself. And then we got Vikings talk, because obviously someone got a little extension. We'll get to that in a minute. But first off, Voldy, yesterday, the big news. Glen Taylor is going to be selling the Minnesota Timberwolves as well as the Lynx. I mean,
yes,
absolutely crazy, because I didn't think this would happen at all. Because Glen Taylor's had this team since 1994 or something like that. And when you have a franchise like the Timberwolves, you have them stay in Minnesota, and obviously this wasn't working out one bit, okay? And Glen Taylor, I give him some credit, though. He tried his best. We'll give that to him. But the rift between him and KG, and then the Butler drama, it was time. And people know this guy doesn't know much when it comes to basketball. KG's even said that as well. But speaking of Kevin Garnett is trying to buy the team. Claps all around. It's about freaking time. And I think, here's the thing. People are saying, Voldy, that the Wolves might go somewhere else, relocate. I don't think that's going to sit well with the fan base at all.
No.
So, Voldy, let me ask you. I mean, are we feeling pretty confident that the Wolves will stay in Minnesota?
I'm feeling pretty confident about it, because you look at what they've done the last couple of years. They've put together a lot of pieces to try to build a franchise. Not to mention they already got after D'Lo for D'Angelo Russell. They put so much money into the Target Center these last few years. It's ridiculous. And the fact that there's even the hint of them trying to move away is crazy. Sure, I'm sure they've said the same thing about a lot of other franchises that ended up moving to different locations in different sports. But what I'm looking at here, I think it's pretty much going to be safe to say that Timberwolves are going to be hanging around. They've been bad, but they haven't been that bad. At least that's to us, for us Minnesota fans. We try to keep everything in perspective.
Right. And again, we've said this before. It feels like every year they're rebuilding, right?
Yep.
And that's kind of how it feels. And it's time for a change. And this is what the Wolves have been waiting on for a while, okay? You push all your chips in with Tibbs, Butler, Cat, and Wiggs, okay? But didn't work out, okay? And I think that situation right there, Voldy, was the last straw. And I think a lot of Wolves fans, including Will Rattel, Cole Munson, and all Wolves fans, is that there hasn't been a team like when KG, Cassell, Sprewell, those guys were on the team and got to the Western Conference Finals and lost to the Lakers, a good team. So I think it's best if whoever, and I think KG is going to get it. I really do. I think KG and his people will buy the team, and KG is going to work his butt off to make sure this team is ready to go. And, he said in a series of tweets here, Voldy, my passion for the Timberwolves to be a championship team is well known, but I have a deeper affection for the city of Minneapolis. I once again want to see Minneapolis as the diverse, loving community that I know it is. And then Wild needs to get the bid. Yeah. Wilf, excuse me. Yeah. The Wilfs. But here's the thing. We had an update on that. I was talking about this with Shield before the show. That they're not actively pursuing the bid, unfortunately. Because I feel like if KG, Voldy, let's just say that the Wolves are still interested, okay? Would you rather have Kevin Garnett own the team or have Ziggy and Mark Wilf own the Timberwolves?
See, there's a part of me that wants the two of them to put their minds together into one super ownership.
Sure.
Because the Wilfs know how to own a team.
Yep.
But KG knows how a team works because he's been in the league. He's seen it from afar. He's been right in the mix of it. He's stayed close to the game, even after his retirement. He's been involved with, the media, with, analysts and everything with that. But, he stayed close to the game enough to know what's going on, what needs to work, and what doesn't. But, of course, we all know that the Wilfs actually know how to run a team. They've taken the Minnesota Vikings from nothing, cellar dwellers in the NFC North and taken them all the way to the NFC Championship game multiple times.
Right.
Of course, they haven't won the big one quite yet, but, that's yet to be said at this point. But I like the fact that if I had to choose between the two of them, I would go with KG.
Yeah. I would say so too, but I feel like you said, I think this could be combined. And even if KG didn't win the bid, the Wolves are going to make sure that his number is retired at the time.
Oh, absolutely.
Because it is a absolute travesty that KG's number hasn't been retired. I mean, the Celtics already took care of that. Come on.
That they did.
He was here longer, and yes, he did win a championship with them. But again, KG needs to have his number retired. Yes, we all know it's just not, but the impact that he had on this franchise, he was the whole franchise, for gosh sake.
He was.
And if he buys the Wolves, hey, I think guys are going to want to come play for a guy, KG, and then you have Rosas, who's doing a fantastic job, and
Absolutely.
Saunders. I mean, come on, what's better than that? So, Zoners, what do you think about this situation? Should they go all in on KG? Should the Wolves get back into things, even though they're kind of out of it? But I believe that KG and his people will get something done. He loves Minnesota. He loves Minneapolis, and I think this will be great for the Minnesota franchise. So, hey, I love it. Let's do it, okay? So,
please,
Zoners,
let's make this happen.
Yeah, Zoners, chime in. What do you think, okay? So, Voldy, next we got for a little hot take. Coach Zim is getting an extension. He is ready to go. Claps all around. Finalizing a multi-year contract extension with the Vikings. Fingers crossed that we can put something together with Zim, because honestly, Voldy, ever since the Vikings have hired Zim, I've always been a fan of Zim. And the thing is before he came here, And our team was in shambles. Absolute. I mean, Leslie Frazier, I liked him. But again, I was kind of like, we should get rid of Musgrave because Musgrave, oof. Yeah,
Leslie
we don't
Frazier,
need to get into that.
great defensive coordinator.
Right.
Some coaches are just great coordinators.
Yeah.
Some never get the shot to be head coaches. And, well, Mike Zimmer was one of those guys that's like, man, if you could see what he could do with a football team, I'm sure with the whole team, he would be something. And so far it's worked out. Leslie Frazier, great defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Look what he's done in Buffalo the last couple of years.
Yeah.
He's kind of turned things around there, too.
Yeah, so you got to factor that in, too. But at the same time, too, when the Vikings got Zim, they went 7-9 their first season, okay? And the defense from, the previous, they were like ranked 32nd in the league with, for the Vikings. But all of a sudden, Zim brings them up middle of the pack. And then after a couple years, they're a top 5 defense. Wow.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, is that the Vikings, they go out, they get Kirky, okay? They pay him his money, they give him an extension here just this, last offseason. So we got to look at this right now. They went 10-6, okay, this past season. They go into the playoffs, they get a win, they take on the really good 49er team. They lose to them. But that's the thing. We want to get over the hump. The Vikings want to get to the promised land, which is the Super Bowl, right? And here's the thing. If the Vikings didn't give him an extension, I think this season would be in shambles. Absolutely.
It would.
It would be really bad. And the thing is that the Vikings are like, no, we believe in Zimmer. I believe in Zimmer. What Zimmer did in this offseason, getting rid of guys who are veterans at corner, Trey Waynes, Xavier Rhodes, putting some young guys in there. So, hey, Zim deserves this. Voldy, what are your thoughts?
You look at the situation overall. It was his final year in his contract. He's had nothing but success. Obviously, the first year, it's a bit of a misnomer. 7-9, you're playing with somebody else's team, and you're trying to find what's going to work just right for you. You start implementing your system. It takes at least 2-3 years to fully know what your team is going to develop and what to do. Like PJ Fleck, see what happened this past season. Now that you've got a full PJ Fleck squad, and it worked out just fine. Last couple of seasons, where have the Vikings been? Right in the hunt for every single game and also for a spot in a championship game. That's where they've been at with, a full Mike Zimmer team, and you look at it overall, there's been some hiccups in the road.
Oh, sure.
That's sports. That's the game of football right there. If it didn't happen, yes, it'd be a conversation all season long about whether Zimmer is going to get the extension or not. And the fact that, ownership, the Wilfs, and everybody said, we believe in our coach. We're going to give him the extension before the season even begins, before training camp even begins. One less thing to worry about. You can go into the season and the season that is potentially going to be and just focus on the game itself.
Right. And we all have to remember, too, Zim is already the third winningest coach in Vikings history. Okay. He's behind Bud Grant, Denny Green. Okay. Those are some top Vikings coaches. So the thing is you don't want to do a coach search during the season. And then, Zim's probably already being peeved with them. I mean, they would do a complete nosedive. And that's what you want to avoid. And the question is like, okay, here's Zim, but what about Spielman? So we got to look at that as well. Just saying, I think Rick Spielman has done a fantastic job. I think there's been some draft busts, but again, that's the draft. You're going to get some guys that aren't going to pan out, okay? For instance, Sharif Floyd. He had a lot of promise. He dropped in the draft. He had a couple good seasons, got hurt. Really not his fault, but still.
Right.
You got to factor that. Laquan Treadwell, another thing there too. So with Zim being extended, I look at this from a different perspective. Is that he wants to win a Super Bowl here in Minnesota. He wants it to be him. Okay. Yes,
absolutely.
He's 64 years old. We all understand that. But I mean, the guy is fiery. The guy wants to win. And the thing is he's not a jerk all the time. He cares about his players. He cares about this team. He cares about this organization. So Zim is going to do everything in his power to make this work. And he's handled all situations well, especially with the Diggs thing. You know, Diggs didn't want to be here, blah, blah, blah. Zim handled that. And he did a fantastic job in doing so. So I kind of look at this and say, props to Coach Zim. I've been a big fan of Zim. Kerf Doctor's a big fan of Zim. I know, Voldy, you are as well. So for all the Vikings fans out there, Zim's staying for a little bit longer, people. And, you know, we'll see what happens. I mean, there's a lot of good things that'll be happening coming up this season. So, hey, you know what? Skol Vikes, let's get it rolling, baby. All right.
Absolutely.
Let's roll. All right. So, Voldy, this week, we haven't done this segment in a while. And
no, we haven't.
This is something that I'm kind of excited for because you got to put on a gauntlet for this. You know, you just got to put it on. You put the stones on and everything like that. And it's talking about the Twins and their they play this week. Oh, wait. They're playing in an exhibition game right now. So, hey.
Right now.
Let's start some Infinity rankings for the 2020 Twins.
While many have power rankings, none have captured them all. It's time for Matty C's Infinity Rankings.
All right, so I put on my gauntlet. I think we need to buy like a Zona gauntlet at some point. I think that'd be
something
cool, you know. So without further ado, I have a couple things for this is the 2020 Twins ranks to success. Okay, so there's 6 stones. So here is my Infinity rankings. Okay, so starting with number 6, Nelson Cruz power. Okay.
Okay.
Now what does that mean? Okay, Nelson Cruz has to have the same type of season he had last year. And the thing is, I've been seeing some, you know, scrimmages that have been taking place. He still got it. Okay, so yeah, that's the good thing about this, Voldy, is that Nelson Cruz is like, I think 39, 40 years old or something like that, and he can still just crush the heck out of the ball.
Good for him.
You know, and I think that's the thing. That's the key to success. And that's probably my 6 right there. Okay, so number 5. This one people probably saw coming. Okay, I know Matt Metzler's not a huge fan of Byron Buxton. Okay, yes, Buxton got hurt not too long ago. Thank
he did.
goodness that it wasn't as bad as we thought. Okay,
thank goodness.
And
yes,
it was just it's a day-to-day. I think it was a sprain or something like that. So it sounds like he'll be back at some point, but for them to be successful, Voldy, they have to have Buxton healthy. He is a key part of their success. I mean, defensively. And yes, he's got to be able to hit the ball. And the thing is he's had those streaks. The thing is, we got to see more consistency. Speaking of that, my number 4, Miguel Sano. He's got to limit his inconsistent play, okay?
He does.
There's a lot of strikeouts. There's a lot of everything like that. But here's the thing. He was a top prospect. The thing is, play like a top prospect, okay? He did that. He did a great job last year. Let's keep continuing to do that. And I believe he was tested positive for coronavirus. It sounds like things are better with him now. So
it's in the clear.
That's good. Sano will be raring to go. Okay, number 3. Josh Donaldson, okay? This is what I said, Voldy. He needs to be as advertised. And the thing is the Twins finally spent money on a player that could push them over the top. And Josh Donaldson has to be as advertised. This can't be a bust. If anything goes wrong, he could be traded. He could be gone. I don't think that's what's going to happen. I think, the tides are going to turn a little bit here. And that's what we need to see, Voldy, is that this team needed to do this in free agency. And they got Donaldson. They gave him the money. They said, all right, please help us get over the hump. And I believe that he can do that. And, I'll keep updated on the exhibition. We'll see what happens. But Donaldson, he needs to be as advertised, and I think he will. Okay, number 2. Beat the damn Yankees, okay? Here's the thing. All right, yes, we know they won't have to because of, where, the division's at, and then we're playing NL Central teams and things like that. But if they have to play them in the playoffs,
Yep.
for God's sake, Voldy, they can't get faced by them. Last year they said, oh, no, we don't worry about that. No. Nah, you better worry about that. Emma's first sentence, beat the Yankees. Yeah, that's my goddaughter. That's my goddaughter right there. Exactly. That's the thing, is that we need to understand that this is just a team. Yes, they are the Yankees. Yes, they've won a lot of titles and everything like that. But you gotta just beat them. That's all you gotta do. They're just a team. Okay. Yes, they have good players. Don't get fazed by that. They're just another baseball team. Just beat them. Who gives a rip? So this kind of ties in. My number 1, Voldy. I don't know how long I've been saying this, but it's been too long I've been saying this. Kerf Doctor knows what I'm talking about. It's pitching! Pitching. The one thing that I have against the Twins is that they don't go out and get an ace. Yes, we all know about Syndergaard, okay? Metzler wanted to trade Buxton and Kirilloff in a deal to get Syndergaard, but it didn't seem like it was going to work out. The Twins have to pull the trigger on getting some elite pitching. They are at the doorstep, Voldy. They need to knock it down with another ace. We have Barrios. That's okay. But, again, they need to find another guy. I know Garrett Cole was a guy that they were, but that was going to be too much money. Yeah. That's not in, that's way out of the Polad pocket protector range, okay? They got, that's too much. But they have to look into this because in order to win, they need to have pitching, okay? The Astros had it. The Nationals had it this past year. Yes, we understand the Astros cheated, but they did have a good, starting pitching, relief pitching, and everything like that. The Twins have made an effort, but from what I saw in this exhibition, it looks like Rich Hill's already, or Homer Bailey, right? That's what.
Yeah.
Homer Bailey already gave up 2 homers. So.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yikes.
So anyway, fact of the matter is, those are my 6 keys to success for the Twins. And the thing is, easier said than done. Voldy, what are your thoughts?
I look at this list overall. I think the Byron Buxton spot at number 5, I think that needs to move up a couple spots.
Okay.
Because you look at where Byron Buxton is in his career. Yes, he's been hurt a lot. Yes, he's had some glimpses and some really good parts of some really good seasons. But the consistency thing with him and Sano, they almost need to be right next to each other.
Sure.
Because they've been hurt, they've been battling injuries, they've been inconsistent. But the health is certainly one thing that I'm looking at with Byron Buxton. Needs to be right at I'm not going to say at the very top, but it needs to be at least 4, if not number 3, because behind, Byron Buxton, you got a few rookies that are pretty substantial, but I'm not going to look at the fact that potentially that Byron Buxton being healthy is not going to be a detractor from the team, but he certainly needs to be at the top of the lineup, making something happen for some of these guys that can do some damage.
And what Peter was talking about here, people thought that, Homer Bailey's going to be our ace, and that's not the case.
It's going to be a revolving door at number 5 in the rotation, I think. There's going to be a lot of guys out there.
I think Smeltzer might even get a shot again. Maybe even Dobnik, the guy who was an Uber driver before, might get a chance.
They need to make Devin Smeltzer a starter. They just need to make that happen. And not only just for the Twins, but for him as well. He needs that consistency because going up and down, back and forth, am I a starter? Am I a long reliever? AAA, major leagues. Right. It's not good for the guy who's been in the league for, I think 4 and maybe 5 years at the most.
Right.
But he's been so up and down with the Twins and with the Dodgers when he came over in the Brian Dozier trade. It's not good. It's not good for the psyche. You just need to know what he needs to be doing to crack the starting 5 and be in that rotation. They just need to make a commitment and say, you're going to be our number 4 starter. You're going to go out every 5 days. And that's one thing, especially pitching. That's number 1 right there. And that's what we need. We need that sustainability at the top of the rotation. We've got that. Middle part to the back half of the starting 5. Yes, we need that sustainability, and also need a strong back half of the bullpen too, because that's where games are going to get won and lost, especially with the short season, is how strong the bullpen is going to be for the Twins this year.
Barrios, Hill, Maeda, Odo, Smeltzer, Dube. I mean, it's got some potential, like Peter was saying too. I mean, it does, and I'm not disputing that. The thing is that there's not a guy that's like, we can rely on him, we can get some wins with that, but it's got some potential, and you know what? We're going to see how it plays out, because, that's the one thing in the back of my mind where I'm like, I'm wrestling with it, trying to think, positive that it's all going to work out with this pitching staff. And I really hope it. I mean, Sergio Romo for relief pitching, Taylor Rogers, being the closer, I'm okay with that. I like that a lot. It was a bummer losing Gratterall, but, Maeda is going to be a guy I think that'll be pretty good, But again, we're going to have to see what happens. This team has a lot of potential, and we want to see it do good. And the thing is I really hope and pray that the Pohlads aren't holding this team back, okay? And that's the issue that all Twins fans have had. And the Kerf doctor is, peeved at them too, because it's them. In a shortened season, pitching is truly a make or break this year. Exactly, Nick. See, that is a great point by my brother-in-law with that. I mean, yeah, it's a make or break. And then looks like
Aaron, is.
Big Romo guy. Me too. I like him a lot. I think he's a really good relief pitcher. He brings a lot of charisma, and hey, watch out. That was a good get. I give Falvey and Levine a lot of credit. And they've done a great job, so I got to give them credit where credit is due. So, Zoners, chime in. What do you think of this list? Yes, I probably should have brought up the Buxton thing a little bit, knowing myself. But hey, you know what? They're just rankings. We're just having fun with it. Will be interesting to see how a creative team like the Rays perform in the sprint. Yeah, it'll be interesting. That's for sure. And again, they're going to be going up against their division. The Indians are going to be a good team. White Sox are up and coming, and then you're taking on, the Cardinals, the Cubs, like we were talking about previously, Voldy. I mean, it's going to be interesting. I'm really intrigued to see how it goes. And, let's hope the pitching holds up. So
there's going to be some winnable games against Detroit, Kansas City. The White Sox are going to be tough this year, potentially. And again, you're going up against some of these stalwarts in the NL Central, Chicago. Pittsburgh's been a very interesting team the last few years. Cincinnati's up and coming as well. They're in the same division, the NL Central. And you throw all those teams in the mix for that extra 20 games. I mean, this could be a very interesting 60-game season.
I'm just saying, if they hit 40 wins, don't say I didn't tell you so. Just saying. Honest question, though. Will there be an asterisk next to the winner of the World Series this year, since it's not a full season? Who knows if they're going to finish the season? Let's just say that, too.
We don't even know.
We don't even know, and Nick brings up a great point. I wouldn't say that they would. I think they wouldn't put an asterisk. I think it's...
No.
They needed to have a season. They finally got it done, But the thing is, will it continue? Then there won't be anything. Who's the bigger challengers, White Sox or Indians? I'd probably say Cleveland at this point, just because they've been in it. They've had, Terry Francona, man, Voldy, you know him very well.
Oh yeah.
And the White Sox, but you don't count out the White Sox. The Royals,
never.
Not worried about them. Tigers, definitely not worried about them. They've lost almost everything. But I like Gardy. We do like Gardy a lot. So
I'm going to say the White Sox, in my honest opinion, because they added a couple of guys. They added a couple guys to their team. They picked up a few bats. They got some prospects coming up. Added Dallas Keuchel, who's a Cy Young winner. Is a guy who can go out there and eat up some innings as well. They're going to be a very interesting challenge this year for the Twins.
Sure. So, Zoners, appreciate all the questions that you got, but I think it's time to get to our favorites. Voldy's got a good list going, but we're going to get to Aaron here because I want to get the Twins are deep enough in the outfield that Buxton being healthy or not won't make it as big of a difference as the other points on your list. Okay? Well, let's hope so. So, fingers crossed. All right, so I think it's time for some absurd or approved.
It's time for everyone's favorite segment, Absurd or Approved.
Voldy, we're on a roll. Zoners are chiming in about the Twins. And again, keep chiming in. And if we don't get to it, we promise we'll get to you later on after the show or maybe even during. We'll see. But anyway, Voldy, why don't you rattle them off for us, please?
All right, well, we start off with something a little bit too close to home, as it was announced that the NCAA Division I Council has voted in favor of allowing University of St. Thomas out of Minnesota to leap from Division III all the way to Division I, insert puke emoji multiple times, paving the way for the Tommies to leave the MIAC conference because they're too good to play in a trio of D1 leagues starting in 2021, 2022. So a majority of St. Thomas teams are going to be playing in the Summit League. Very fun league to watch. If you've ever watched anything with the Summit, like I have the last 4 years, basically, out in South Dakota, Summit League is one of the best leagues out there. While football is going to play in the Pioneer League, which is an FCS conference, women's hockey is going to make the jump up to the Western Collegiate Hockey Association, better known as the WCHA, which is one of the premier leagues and conferences in women's college hockey for Division I. Looking at the whole body of work for St. Thomas and where they're going to be dropping into for Division I, absurd or approved, Tommy's going D1.
Well, here's the thing. They've been talking about this for a while. And one thing I do want to mention, too, I have both my dad and my mother graduated from the University of St. Thomas. So that a little tidbit of information for you. But here's the thing. My sisters go to St. Ben's, which is close. I mean, St. John, St. Ben's. I mean, they're like together almost, too. So there's a lot of rivalry there. But them making the jump to D1, okay, obviously, like you said, it's the Summit League. There's a lot of good teams in that.
There is.
And the thing is that I don't think they're gonna have to go against NDSU. Good luck. Yeah, good luck.
Yeah,
to
seriously.
But the thing is that these D3 schools couldn't keep up. Besides maybe St. John's, and St. John's has proven that they can hang with them. But making the jump to D1, I feel is a little much. I feel like if they were going D2, I think they'd have a lot of success in D2. NDSU and SDSU might be getting nervous. UST could be taking some local football recruits from them. So
Potentially.
So we'll have to see on that. But again, you're going up against, I think, the one school that you got to be aware of. I mean, UND for hockey, watch out. Then there's Go Jacks, SDSU. Looks like we got some SDSU people around here as well. So,
better dead than red. Let's go. Go Jacks.
So, I mean, there's a lot of – I think this is good, though. It's got my stamp of approval. The reason why is because, you know what? Let's see what they can do. Let's see what they can do against these teams like, Denver, North Dakota State. I'm very surprised they jumped over D2 for football. You're telling me that they are better than UMD and Mankato. See, Nick, that's what I'm talking about, is that I think football-wise, they definitely should probably be within a D2 program. would I like to see St. Thomas against SMSU? Sure. Heck yeah. Kerf Doctor would. Voldy, you would. I mean, us SMSU guys, we'd be like, heck yeah. But who knows? You know, we love our Mustangs. But again, St. Thomas gets a lot of good recruits too. So, you know, North Dakota State, you know, and you're looking at a lot of these other teams, South Dakota State. I mean, I think the big one is taking on the Dakotas. Okay. And like Peter was saying, are they going to take some recruits? Are they going to, you know, it's going to be interesting. But I'm surprised they made the jump all the way to D1, like Nick was saying. But let's see what they got, man. I mean, this is going to be interesting. Looks like football will do just fine in the Pioneer League. First straight football game I went to, I thought UST could beat these guys. St. Thomas isn't a big campus either. Are they going to be able to handle the sun-jumping fans, assuming Rona passes? And, you know, it's a good point. It's a very good point. And the Zoners are really chiming in. I'm loving everything they're putting forth. But, Voldy, we got to hear from you. What do you think?
You know, I look at this overall and just seeing from the fact that you jump from D3 to D1, like Mankato. Mankato's all but like maybe two sports that are all D2, but football's D1. Yeah. I mean, that's actually rephrase that previous statement. They're definitely they're always playing for a national championship. Right. It seems that they're playing for the football program, but then you go for a league that is, you know, one of the better leagues in the Summit. I've had ringside and courtside access to the Summit League the last couple of years. NDSU, SDSU, USD, all the Dakota teams. That's where it's going to be. Recruiting wise, you'd be surprised how many kids from Minnesota end up at some of these programs, especially for football. Football especially is definitely one of those programs that, you know, if you don't make it in state, you know, the Dakotas will take care of you in that respect. Exactly. But I look at it overall as, you know, I've seen a lot smaller gyms that are D1 programs, especially for some of the smaller conferences, you know, like the Patriot League, the Ivy League, you know, those conference tournaments that, you know, are played at 3:00 in the afternoon on a Wednesday, you know, during conference championship week leading up to the, you know, to the national tournament. And I see this overall. I don't know how the Tommies are going to do, but I know it's going to be a rough start because they've got some prime talent to go up against that are well-established D1 programs, and it'll be very interesting to see how the Tommies pull their heads out.
Here's a quote from someone, too, okay? Rome wasn't built in a day, okay?
True.
And that's the thing, is we got to see what happens with the Tommies. Again, you know, there's a lot of people that chime in on this. How have the matchups give the past couple years, Aaron Madsen? Ooh, looks like we got a little jarring back and forth here. Watch out.
All right.
I like this, but keep chiming in. But again, you know, this is very interesting. Making that big jump, yeah, you won't have success at first, but again, we'll see. There's a lot of options, as the Kerf Doctor likes to say. So, Voldy, why don't you rattle off the next one, please?
Well, it was announced on Monday that the NFL made a proposal to the Players Association to play absolutely zero preseason football games, sticking with a whole training camp, going right into the start of the Week 1 regular season. The league's proposal, it hasn't officially been announced yet that the Players Association said that they're going to accept the proposal formally, but a lot of signs, a lot of sources are saying we're going to go with it. We are going to, you know, train for the regular season. Forget the preseason games, and we're moving on to Week 1. We're going to have a whole training camp from, you know, late July all the way to when's Week 1? That's like early September, late August or something like that, somewhere around there. Looking at it overall, absurd or approved, no preseason football in the NFL.
Well, Voldy, we talked about this not too long ago, obviously. And I think you and I are definitely in agreement about why there should be at least 2 games of preseason. And I get it, okay? You want to make sure everybody's safe. And, yeah, it doesn't really affect me that much. But at the same time, too, I feel like you need to have that competition. On one hand, college doesn't do preseason, so you think pros can do the same. On the other hand, professional football is like no other. Right.
True.
But
very true.
That's a good point. But I also want to bring up, too, is that I feel like there's a lot of guys that want to prove themselves in an actual game, in a game setting.
Exactly.
And I feel like some of these guys won't be able to make the team if, you know, if they don't play in a game against a different team. I feel like if you're going to do the preseason, you do it like almost the MLB type of thing. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to say it's a little absurd that they're doing no games, but I understand it doesn't really affect me too much. But one thing we have to remember is that, you know, with this pandemic going on, you know, we don't want this to start a fire, right? We don't want this to all of a sudden like, oh crap, we can't play a season because, well, you
right.
played 2 preseasons a game. But the thing is, it's only 2 preseason games. They're going to be tested every day. It's not like they're going to say, well, fend for yourselves. Good luck. So, no, that's not how it'll work. I think it's absurd just because of the fact that some of these guys might lose, you know, jobs because of this. And you know what?
Exactly.
That's kind of a bummer. So that's how I look at it, but it's not a huge deal. I understand where they're coming from, but hey, as long as we get to have a season. So what do you think, Voldy? And Zoners, what do you think?
You know, I don't like this. I don't like it at all. Like Nick did bring up, of course, college doesn't do preseason, and they just go right into it. Game number 1. That's where the softer schedules come into because, you know, the Alabamas are playing the Chattanoogas of the world and just beating them out by 40, 50 points at halftime. And that's basically a preseason game for them. And they're already 1-0. But I don't see the point of going through it. Yes, there are extenuating circumstances with the coronavirus, but you're doing these NFL teams a disservice. You look at it, you go from 4 to 2, like they were saying. I thought 2 games was going to be perfect. You give guys, you know, the dress rehearsal for game number 1. Maybe, you know, they play maybe a half, maybe a quarter at the most. Some of the regular guys, you know, that are going to be on the team, and give the entire second half to the 3rd and 4th string guys. They're going to be fighting out for jobs, and maybe guys on the practice squad. They're going to be fighting for roster positions. Then you take that completely out.
Yeah.
No preseason. They're already going to cut down the rosters, too, from 90 guys down to 80. So those 10 guys that were maybe going to find a spot on a practice squad, if not the team that they started with, to maybe some other team, maybe go up to Canada after having an impressive camp, that's completely gone. You got to dwindle that team down to, was it 53, I think, 53 guys on the NFL roster. Yeah. So those, you know, 27 guys, they're going to be battling out for a roster spot, maybe a practice squad position. That's already against them because, you know, those first, you know, 30, 40 guys, you know, for sure going to make the team. You know, injuries play a big factor. Yes, guys aren't getting paid all that well in the preseason, if at all. The risk for injury is very high. Lots of studs have gotten themselves hurt in the preseason. Julian Edelman a few years ago when he blew out his knee. That happened in a preseason game too. Lost him for the whole season, which played a huge part how the Patriots ended up that season. And then you look at overall, not having the preseason altogether, you don't know what your team has.
Yeah. Maybe
they'll do a couple inter squad practices, maybe a couple of joint scrimmage practices that like the Patriots do every year. The Vikings used to do it with Kansas City because they're in Wisconsin.
Exactly.
Kansas City was all those years ago in River Falls. But not a lot of that happens nowadays. If it does happen, it's very on a restricted basis. 7-on-7, maybe a couple cornerback versus, wide receiver routes. Other than that, there isn't a whole lot of things going on with that. Without the preseason, A, you're losing revenue. B, you're losing interest in the team as well. And then you go into the regular season. Yeah. There's not going to be a whole lot that can be, done for a team on the positive side. I think it's completely absurd.
So, a lot of good points from our zoners here, too. I mean, Nick was even saying, guys like Adam Thielen. I talked about this last time, 2 weeks ago, too. Nick, I think, was definitely listening to me when I was talking about this. But, you could be missing out on a really good undrafted guy. So you got to factor that in, too. So, but, again, it's because they don't know where this virus is going to head. And I understand that, but again, I think they can figure out a way to at least have 2. But I think all the zoners, and Peter was saying too, you got to expand the rosters too. 2 to 3 weeks going in on the season. So hey, good luck NFL, I guess. So, all right, next one.
Not gonna work. It's not going to work. That's all I got to say about that. Okay, so this past week, if anybody knows about me and my dad, Jimbo, we are big in the baseball card, sporting card world. We're very high on it. We're collectors of all kinds. This past week, one card in particular set a world record, $1.845 million for 2003-2004 LeBron James Upper Deck rookie patch parallel card sold at Golden Auctions for $1.845 million.
Wow.
And that's breaking all sorts of records, because that card is recognized for the modern day of cards, for cards produced from 1980 to today. Broke the world record, of course. Broke the record, or established a record as well. And this is even breaking the famous Honus Wagner card, the 1952 Mickey Mantle card as well. All other cards that have gone and set the gold standard when it comes to collectors, and also for those types of collectors items. Memorabilia, it's huge. Of course, we all know the phenom that is LeBron James. Oh, his rookie card for $1.845 million seems a little bit on the high side to me. Absurd approved the amount that somebody paid for that rookie card.
Well, here's the thing. I think we got to ask our expert, Jimbo Volt. And I think Nick's already asked him that question. Totally absurd. That's what Jimbo's saying. I mean, oh my gosh. 1.8 million? I mean, come on.
Yikes.
That's just, I'm no expert on, all these cards and everything like that. But I feel like that is a little absurd to get just a card from 2003, 2004. But 1.8 million? As a former professor likes to say, I'm not sure if that would work. No, I don't know. If LeBron can get that much, what does a Rubio rookie card go for? Well, here's the thing.
You get a bag of potato skins. That's how much that card's for.
Oh man, Cole Munson's gonna love that. But that's the thing, is that it's just an absurd amount of money. Jimbo's definitely saying it's absurd. I'm gonna say it's absurd. Curve Doctor, do you think it's absurd? He's nodding his head. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for the cost or the amount?
Well, yeah, for the amount. I mean, it's like 1.8.
The free market determines the value.
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah.
Must be a Cleveland fan.
It must be a Cleveland fan. Yeah, I think
Big time Cleveland fan. Has to be.
It has to be. So, I don't know. Voldy, I'd probably say, it's absurd. The amount of money that's being put into a rookie card like that. Come on.
And this is while he's still alive, too.
Yeah.
Can I don't know how much a Kobe Bryant Upper Deck rookie card is nowadays, but I would imagine it's pretty high posthumously. Rest in peace, Kobe.
Yeah.
But you look at the previous record. The previous record for it was as half as much, $922,500. That was for a Bowman Draft Chrome Red Refractor Mike Trout rookie card. Now Mike Trout's got the laughing end of it, because he's got that big time FU Mike Trout money then and there, along with that Pat Mahomes big time FU money. And the fact is, another part of it goes into the quality of the card. It's not been sitting in the bottom of a shoebox for the last 17 years. It's been sealed. It's in a little case. It's probably sealed with some kind of wrapping around it as well. Is certified gem mint. That is a huge part of the cost and also the value of this card. $1.845 million. LeBron even weighed in as well. He said, I think I've got a couple of those sitting around somewhere.
Sure.
Lord knows he's sitting on a gold mine of his stuff. Because that always would surprise me. Like some of these big stars, if they actually collect like some of their, some of their stuff, like some of their memorabilia. Sure. Pat Neshek, former Minnesota Twin legend.
Yeah.
He is a huge card guy.
Oh, I'm sure.
Huge. trades, buys, sells all over the place. Big collector of stuff like that. Is he making, millions of dollars off his, rookie cards and things of that sort? No. But, it's a good hobby. People have got weirder hobbies. I think the amount is absurd.
Yeah.
Let's just see how high it goes after his career and, posthumously.
Sure.
Hopefully we're talking another, 40 years at least before we start even thinking about that.
Right. And, I think we know someone that can work out a deal, and it's Jimbo. I think Jimbo could bring that down significantly. I mean, that's just me. It's got my stamp of approval that Jimbo could get that card for much cheaper, things like that, because he's a negotiator. That's how it works.
He is that guy.
He is that guy. All right, next one, Voldy.
Well, this time we go inside the bubble that is Disney World of the National Basketball Association, talking about how the NBA is going to be trying to fight the coronavirus once games get started. Was released in their 113-page guidebook to govern health and safety at Walt Disney World. Some of the things that they're going to be using in-game. And one of them that stood out the most, timeout chairs. To be used during the game. Games will be mobile and will be allowed for huddling on the court during timeouts. Players will not be able to sit on the bench during timeouts, and these mobile chairs will be cleaned after each timeout by team staff. Of course, everything with the coronavirus. Some things seem a little bit excessive as well. Of course, huddling in its usual form is, against social distancing, and the whole huddle has to be a 6-foot radius of people being advised to leave themselves between, each other for the social distancing side of things. Maintaining that distance, the huddle is going to be tough as well, but the whole mobile timeout chair thing seems a little bit weird and a little bit off-putting to me. My question is this going to play out very well? Is it absurd or approved, the whole concept of the timeout chair?
Timeout chair, they are being very cautious. And that's the thing, is that I think baseball will be able to have a full season. Hockey, I think it will. I could see that. But basketball, I feel like out of those three is the most susceptible because, driving to the lane, bumping into each other, things like that. Are they going to abide by the rules? I mean, they have a snitch line, for goodness sake, over in the bubble. But the fact of the matter is, I was talking to Papa Callahan about this as well, and he goes, I don't know how they're going to have a full season, or finish their season. And with everything that's been going on with the virus and everything like that, especially being in Florida as well. I mean, that's the new epicenter as well. So I don't know how this is going to pan out, Voldy. That's the thing. And with the chair, going back to the chair situation, I guess it's got my stamp of approval because they're trying to be able to finish the season, okay? I think they will be able to, but ultimately the players wanted to finish the season, okay? And this is what has to be done. They have to be in a bubble. They have to be in Florida. They can't be breaking the rules because if a couple guys break the rules, it's going to ruin the rest of the season. Then there's an asterisk on that season.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it's got my stamp of approval. They're being safe and everything like that, but don't go too over the top is what I'm saying here. And that's to the point of like, oh, you're not 6 feet. It's like, what? You're going to take out a ruler and see, okay, let's see if you're 6 feet away. Let's see if that's true. No, I mean, it's just little details like that. So, yeah, it's got my stamp of approval just because if they want to have a full season. So, or the rest of their
obviously.
season. All right, what do you think, Voldy?
I think it's just weird. It's a weird situation overall. We got guys breaking protocols at Disney World so they can get a pizza from, DoorDash. We've got people sneaking in, sneaking out. We've got Ben Simmons fishing off the dock at Disney World. Although, sneaky good fisherman to Ben Simmons right there. Good for him. Never saw that coming.
Nope.
But also, you look at the situation overall. It's a weird year.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be a weird year. It's going to be a weird probably next couple of years as well because we're all going to be looking back and talking about, hey, where were you during the coronavirus pandemic? What were you doing? What were you watching? Things of that sort. Obviously, if you need to, finish the season, you're going to employ all sorts of weird gags and gifs. And, well, this is just another one. I think it's absurd, but it's also approved at the same time. I don't know really where to go with this. It's just a weird story overall, but something's got to happen to make it happen.
Exactly. I think that's the perfect quote. Something's got to happen to make it happen. Love it, Voldy. All right, I believe we're on the last one. Go ahead, Voldy.
Yeah, we were alluding to it when we were talking about the cards of LeBron James.
Yeah.
Big time money, big time FU money coming your way to one Mr. Mookie Betts, and the Los Angeles Dodgers agreed to a 12-year, $365 million extension. He's making $1 million a day. That's fantastic to see. Coupled with his 1-year, $27 million contract, 13 years, I think it is $392 million. The deal also tops the previous record of $360 million to one Mr. Michael Trout. So now we're talking about that big-time FU Mookie Betts money.
Yeah.
Absurd or approved, the extension to Mookie Betts.
Well, Voldy, I think you were a little bitter on Twitter
bitter.
Because why couldn't the Red Sox give him that when he was there? Now, I'm going to ask this of Mookie Betts, Voldy. Could I get some of that, like $100, $200, $300? That would be nice. I think that would help a lot.
You go out to dinner with him, be like, hey, you got this, right?
Yeah,
you got it. You're good. You're fine.
But, hey, that's a lot of money, and the Dodgers are pushing all their chips in. I mean, this is almost – and, again, I'm not going to go as far to say as this, but, I mean, it's a big deal. I mean, this is like almost a Patrick Mahomes type of deal, but not as much as you think, especially with NFL. But Mookie's getting a lot of money. So, I mean, it's crazy. But, again, the Dodgers, they go out and spend money, right? What do the Twins do? They not so much, right? So, and then, Mike Trout, again, that's another thing that you have to put into perspective, too, is that, Mookie is a really good player. And why the Red Sox didn't want to hold on to him, I don't think we'll ever know. But, I mean, at least this deal, 12 years, I mean, you're locked up, ready to go. But what about the cap space? Well, there's no cap space in baseball. If Mookie got that much for his extension, Voldy is going to be asking for $400 million.
You better believe that.
Then we got Peter. Maybe Mahomes, Trout, and Mookie are a group trying to buy the Timberwolves. Hey, that's a possibility. We have a Minnesota connection with Patrick Mahomes. His dad played for the Twins. There's a connection there. It's not much, but, I mean, it's there. But
exactly.
Voldy, what are your thoughts? Please, go ahead.
Oh, 27 years old. Another 12 years, he'll be 39 years old. So basically, he's either going to play the rest of his years in L.A. or he'll do great for 5-6 years, flounder for like 3 or 4. They'll find a way to dump his contract, and he'll just end up retiring before, that contract runs out. The Red Sox gave him up. They literally said, bye. Thanks for the World Series. Goodbye. Bye-bye. They got Alex Verdugo and a shortstop prospect, Jeter Downs, from the Dodgers in that trade that, would allow them a little bit of extra help. I'm excited to see what Verdugo does with the Red Sox, to see if he's gonna put himself in place in right field or wherever they end up putting him. I think he's a right fielder by trade, but you could probably stick him in a couple of different places. But I didn't like the fact that the Red Sox, of course, it was going to take an exorbitant amount of money to re-sign him, but they just gave up. Sure, they got something while the iron was still hot.
Yeah.
Got a couple of legit prospects, but not even throwing him an offer.
Right.
That we know of. And they just gave up on him. Mm-hmm. I would really like to see Mookie Betts do something with the Dodgers. They've been in the mix for the World Series the last 2-3 seasons. They've fallen short every time. Back-to-back World Series, Houston and against the Red Sox, lost both times. We're in the mix of it. Maybe this is the move that pushes them over. They thought they had the chance with Hanley Ramirez, didn't work. Thought they had the chance with Manny Machado, that didn't work either. Maybe this is where it's always been. It's always been a very interesting situation with the Dodgers, especially in their outfield. For the longest time, they had like 4 or 5 guys that were consistently playing in the outfield for them, and it never worked out. No matter what combination you threw out there, it just never worked. Now to see them find that sustainability with Mookie Betts, who's been off to a great start, I would say, even in the tune-up games and inter-squad games, he's been swinging the bat really good against really good pitching. And I'm excited to see where it goes for him. Really wish it was in a Red Sox uniform. I'm just mad that the Red Sox didn't even make a serious offer. If they did, I don't know. I'm not into the whole insider thing that isn't publicly shared on the socials medias, on the books with them faces and the tweets as well. Beyond that, I'm just mad. But hey, somebody's got to secure the bag. It might as well be Mookie.
Yeah. So, I apologize, Voldy, for that. I mean, it is what it is, But you could say at least, the Red Sox aren't like a team like the Tigers where they're just terrible and rebuilding and everything like that. So, again, got to put that into perspective. So exactly. I think that's going to wrap things up for ARA, and we appreciate everyone who has chimed in. I mean, we had some really good conversations, great stories as always, Voldy. And, Voldy, we've got a lot of shout-outs to get to, but, there are some things that might be coming for Shield shout-outs, not only for Shield shout-outs, but MinneZona as well. But, again, we'll hold off for a little bit because we want to give you a surprise too. So I think it's time for some Shield shoutouts.
Shield shoutouts.
All right, Voldy, who are you shouting out tonight?
All right, well, just another weekly reminder. Be sure to get your MinneZona Sports Live shirts. Callahan's is wearing his right now. $20 a shirt, $5 shipping. If you don't know by now, then, well, you need to pull your head out of the sand and get yourself a shirt. Contact one of us. Contact Jimbo. We'll get you set up with a MinneZona Sports Live shirt. We've got options. We've got sizes.
As the Curve Doctor likes to say, we have options. Please, come on. It's a shirt. It's a nice shirt. People love the shirt. I mean, that's the thing.
Absolutely.
Is that
Cody Curtis is wearing his today. It's his Wednesday shirt now.
Wednesday shirt. I'm sure Mama Callahan's wearing it if she remembered that the show is tonight. So there's that as well. But yeah,
Will Rattel better be wearing his shirt.
Oh,
That's
I'm
all
sure
I know.
I'm sure he is. He might be wearing a red pepper shirt instead. No,
Let's certainly hope.
Oh gosh. Next one, Voldy.
I got to send a Shield shout-out to the newest member of the Minnesota Wild, Kirill Kaprizov, for choosing the number 97 for the Minnesota Wild. Big-time, swaggy number. That is some big cojones on that young Russian. Let's see what the kid's got. I'm excited to see what he's got. Maybe he cracks the squad. Obviously, he's got the number. He's got the contract. See if he cracks a squad coming out for starting on August 2nd when they pick the season back up. Let's hope he can make some damage and do some things with the Wild.
I will get a jersey if he plays well. I'm saying
absolutely.
Right so
absolutely
I'm big on him. So next one.
Got to send a special Shield shout out, tongue twister right there. Francisco Chico Hernandez, LA Dodgers clubhouse guy, been with the team for a few years. Actually getting the chance these last week and a half, last 2 weeks, since we were off for a little bit, to play in some inter-squad games with the Dodgers, and not just making a fool out of himself out there. This dude is straight balling out there, playing left field. He's been able to throw out a couple of guys from left field, threw out a guy at home, ended up getting a double play out of a fly ball out of left field, making these guys who are professional, multi-million-dollar athletes looking like Squints and Smalls from the Sandlot. Just straight balling from Chico Hernandez. Big Shield shout out to that guy.
Anything with the Sandlot has got our stamp of approval, right?
Absolutely.
All right, next one.
Another one here. This is probably a week late because you can kind of see I got a little facial hair coming back, but I got to give a Shield shout out to my guy, Anil. AK's Barbershop, downtown Aiken, opened up at the beginning of the month. Hooked me up with a nice clean shave last week, but as you can see, it's growing back pretty thick already to begin with. You can follow him on Facebook. He's got great stuff. Really cool atmosphere, real chill guy. He's from East Texas, believe it or not, and is here in northern Minnesota. I don't know. I didn't ask him about what the heck you doing up here in the woods and the lakes and the shores of Minnesota from Texas, but, hey, it worked out really well, and so far, no complaints from him. He's got my business, especially after that clean shave. I don't know about a haircut, though. I don't know if we're going to do that here for a little bit or not, because the flow is looking real good as of late.
Well, the question is your brother going to do the flow?
That's another thing. He's been begging. He's been trying, believe it or not.
I'm sure
we'll see
he
what
has.
happens.
I'm sure he has. All right, next one.
Hey, got to send a special Shield shout-out to former Red Sox outfielder Darnell McDonald. Following me on Twitter the other day.
Hey.
Gave him some love on the Twitter. A few weeks ago, he did retweet, favorite one of my tweets. Finally came up with the follow on social media. And next step is, you got to get him to buy a shirt.
Yeah.
Darnell McDonald. We got to make this happen. Representing MinneZona Sports Live. Got to do it. Got to do it.
I mean, we could have him on the show, too. I mean,
absolutely.
We have options.
We have options.
Let's go.
Yes.
So, next one.
Special Shield shout out. A little history being made this past week. Alyssa Knockin, a coach for the staff of the San Francisco Giants, became the first woman to coach in an on-field capacity in a major league game on Monday, serving as a first base coach in an exhibition game where the Giants did defeat when the Giants played against the Oakland A's. As a little bit of history being made in the game of baseball, so that's really cool to see as well. Another Shield shout out, former defensive lineman, now former, happy retirement, Michael Bennett, one half of the Bennett brothers, hanged up the cleats on Tuesday as a 3-time Pro Bowler, Super Bowl 48 champion with Seattle, played for the likes of Dallas. He played for Seattle, played for the Patriots for a hot minute.
Yeah.
And, happy retirement to Michael Bennett, one of the many instrumental players that are no longer a part of the Legion of Boom back in the day.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, the guy, he didn't care what people thought. He'd say what he'd want to say. And his brother was the same way. And
crazy.
Talked about, rip on Jay Cutler, rip on Goodell. I mean, they didn't care. And the thing is, they played really well. So props to him for his retirement, for sure. So, all right, last one, Voldy, I believe.
Yeah, I got another one here. I'm going to see if I can try and do this on my phone. And also peep the case here. Oh, no.
There we go.
The light. There it is. MinneZona Sports Live with the pop wallet here. Another personalized wallpaper. Wallpaper Wednesday. NCHC on the Twitter. North Dakota themed background. So big shout out to NCHC, the National Collegiate Hockey Conference, for the personalized wallpaper on Wallpaper Wednesday. I believe that was last week, because it certainly wasn't today when it happened, but big Shield shout out to them as well.
Yeah, definitely. And, the backgrounds are awesome. We love the MinneZona thing you got on the back there, Voldy. I mean, it's
absolutely.
It doesn't get any better than that. And,
no, it doesn't. You know what thing that does get a little bit better? How about some nice coasters?
Oh, now we have options.
I got a surplus of some patches, and I thought, let's make some coasters. Oh, a nice 50th anniversary Minnesota Vikings patch into a coaster. You can see that a little bit. Nice cork board on the back there for sustainability purposes. I got a whole bunch of them, I represent Marvel a little bit. Got the Punisher. Little Harry Potter action, Slytherin house. I'm a Hufflepuff, but no, I'm a Ravenclaw. Ravenclaw,
okay.
A little ice hockey on that one. And then this one's just a small version of the 69th Regiment Irish Brigade, of the flag that's actually right behind me.
Oh, yeah.
A little Civil War history there for you. But, just a little side project that I've been doing. Never hurts to have too many coasters, I should say.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. I love it. Maybe we got to look into a MinneZona coaster,
Oh, yeah.
Turf
We're looking.
Could use that, I'd say. But anyway, I believe that was it for Shield shoutouts. I think we got it.
That's it for Shield shoutouts this week.
Cool. Well, anyway, great job, Voldy. And then also, like Voldy said, get your shirts. If you don't have your shirt, go get it. Come on, man. I mean, $20 plus $5 shipping. Jimbo will help you out. We can help you out. I mean, we can get this done. So, and then another thing, make sure to check out the W2 Performance podcast with Will Lurtell. He's got some new content out. We appreciate everything that, liking our stuff or liking his stuff or retweeting, we're sharing everything. Yes, we know he doesn't like the red pepper, but hey, we're working on a situation to where we can have him try it again.
Got some stuff coming.
Yeah, so fingers crossed. We'll see what happens with that. So make sure we get into that. We're working on some things now too, Voldy, and we got some surprises coming up, and I think people are going to enjoy it. We might have some new guests. I would certainly hope so. We might have some new guests. We might have, some new things in the background. I don't know. I'm just going to tease it because I think zoners want to know. But, again, we'll keep you coming back for more, as always. So, great job tonight, Voldy. Great job to the Curve Doctor as well.
Yes, sir.
And I think we're good to go for next week, I believe, right? I'm not going on vacation. So, hey, I think we'll keep it rolling. And who knows, we might have something different coming next week. So, fingers crossed, zoners. Fingers crossed. So, as always, folks, remember, keep in the zone.
Holla!
Thank you for watching MinneZona Sports Live. Join us Wednesdays at 7 p.m. for live show broadcast. And as Voldy likes to say, follow us on all the socials medias.